Regarding the last chapter of our tutorial, we are going to be dealing with finite and non-finite verb. On the board we have a finite and non-finite verb. Finite verbs. What are finite verbs? Finite verbs are the main verbs in a sentence. They indicate person, number, and things. Once again, finite verbs are the main verbs in a sentence. They indicate person, number, and things. What we mean by person here is actually the type of pronoun involved. In the pronoun, we have three different types of person: first person pronoun, second person pronoun, and third person pronoun. And when we have a verb agreeing with each type of person in the sentence, we consider such a verb to be a finite verb. Another keyword here is number. What this means here is actually the singularity or the plurality of a word. If we are having a singular entity and a verb is agreeing with a singular entity, we search a singular entity, we consider that verb to be a finite verb. And if we are having a plural entity and we have a verb agreeing with that plural entity, that verb is called a finite verb. And here we have a tense. Tense actually has to do with time. The time a subject performs an action. So when an action is performed in the past and we have a verb showing that the action is performed in the past, that shows the verb is a what? Is a finite verb. And when the action is being done presently and a verb is expressing the present state of the subject, so we consider such a verb to be a finite verb. So for example, here we have I love reading novels. I love reading novels. The subject here is I, and the love here is agreeing with the subject I. That shows this love is a finite verb. The rule says this is the first person pronoun, and the rule says when the first person pronoun I is used in a sentence, it always take a plural verb. So here, love is agreeing with the what? First person pronoun in the sentence. I love reading novels. If I were to change the type of person, the type of pronoun involved, if I were to change it to a third person pronoun, such as he, the verb is going to change to what? Loves. So he loves reading novels. So the final verb here is love, which agrees with what? With the subject in a sentence. In the sentence. The second example, B. Tunji saw the injured girl. Tunji saw the injured girl. The final verb here is so. The final verb here is so. This agrees with the what? With the time an action is performed by the subject. This is the subject and this is the final verb. So so here is showing that the action is performed in the past. So it is agreeing with the subject. And the last example we have here is they are coming to spend some time with us. They are coming to spend some time with us. This is actually agreeing with the number of entities present as a subject. Here, this is a subject, which is a pronoun. But the pronoun here is indicating plurality, and the verb here is also indicating plurality. That shows this verb is agreeing with the plurality of the subject. They are. If I were to change this they to she, this verb is definitely going to change to what? His. She is coming to spend some time with us. Can you say so? The they here is a plural entity, a pronoun, and the I here is also a verb agreeing with what? With the number of the subject. Just like Avan here, she, his. The she here is a singular entity, and the his here is agreeing with the subject. She is coming to spend some time with us. Now, below we are having non-finite verbs. Non-finite verbs do not indicate person, number, or things. They don't indicate person, number, or things. There are three types of non-finite verbs. We have three types of non-finite verbs, and they are as follows. Number one is gerunds. Number two is participles, and number three is infinitives. Now, number one, gerund. What are gerunds? Gerunds are verbs used as nouns. They are verbs used as nouns. They are otherwise called verb and noun. So for example, we have here, I love reading. I love reading. This word reading is a non-finite verb. It is a non-finite verb existing as a nominal entity, that is, it is taking an objective position, which is usually taken by a nominal entity. So for it to take the position of a nominal entity, that shows it is a verb used as a noun, and it is called a gerund, or otherwise called a verbal noun. I love reading. And in this case, if I were to change the nature of the subject or the nature of this verb here, this doesn't change. The word remains the same, it doesn't change. If I were to change this to something like they love reading, the reader remains the same. Or if I were to change to he, and this verb is definitely going to change to a singular entity, because he, you use a singular verb with he. He loves. So he loves reading. The reader remains the same, it doesn't change, regardless of the number of the subject, or the type of person involved in the subject, or the tense in the subject. So the reader remains the same. That shows the reading there is a non-finite verb. It doesn't agree with the subject in an expression or in a sentence. The second example we have here is, studying is what I enjoy. Studying is what I enjoy. In this case, studying is acting as a subject, and it is a verb acting as a nominal entity, that it is taking the position of a subject. So for you to take the position of a subject, we can say it a gerund, a verbal noun, a verb that takes the position of a subject, or a verb which is used as a nominal entity. So it is a gerund. Studying is what I enjoy. If I change, like, it remains the same, it doesn't change. Studying and studying remains the same. Number two, participles. Participles have two forms. They have two forms: present participles and past participles. They are forms of verbs. Present participles, for example, we have here, Tunji saw the injured girl. Tunji saw the injured girl. Rather, we have the past participle. Injured there is existing as past participle. And participle most times are used as adjectives. Most times they are used as adjectives. So Tunji saw the injured girl. This injured girl remains the same even if I change the state, or the person, or the number or things of this verb, or the number of the subject. If I change the number of the subject, the injured girl remains the same. They saw the injured girl, or if I say he saw the injured girl, injured remains the same, it doesn't change. That shows injured here is what? Is a non-finite verb. So verb doesn't change regardless of the number of subjects, or the tense, or the type of a person. I can say that non-finite verb. The second example here is, she is playing football on the field. She is playing football on the field. The playing here is a non-finite verb, and it is a participle, a present participle. The injured here is a past participle, and the playing here is a present participle. Regardless of the number of subjects, if I change the number of subjects here, it doesn't affect the nature of this word playing. So I can decide to say they are, and when I use they are, I can continue the sentence by saying they are playing football on the field. They are playing football on the field. In this case, we are having playing remaining the same without changing. She is playing football on the field. They are playing football on the field. So in this case, the playing there is a non-finite verb, because it doesn't change if we change the nature of the subject. So it doesn't agree with the number of things, or it doesn't indicate the person in an expression. It remains the same. And the last one here is infinitives. Infinitive is a verb that exists in its base form. They are usually in the base form of a verb, and they are usually preceded by the word to. They are usually preceded by the word to. So when we have a verb in its base form being preceded by the word to, we consider such a verb to be to infinite verb or an infinitive. We consider such a verb such a verb in its base form that is preceded by the word to. We consider it to be a to infinitive verb or an infinitive. So in this case, for example, they are coming to spend some time with us. They are coming to spend some time with us. To spend here is a non-finite verb. It is a to infinitive or it is an infinitive. And it is also a non-finite verb because it doesn't agree with the subject. If this subject were to be changed, like this is a plural entity, if I were to change to a singular entity, it doesn't change the state of this to infinitive or infinitive verb. For example, if I should have he, and I change this verb because this is definitely going, because this is a finite verb, it is definitely going to be changed if I'm using he as subject here. So he is coming to spend some time with us. You can say this is not changing, it remains the same. So it is a non-finite verb. It doesn't agree with the number of anything, it remains the same. Because it isn't the main verb in the sentence. Unlike the finite verb, which is as the main verb in the sentence. So also, he wants to buy a new computer. He wants to buy a new computer. The infinitive or the to infinitive verb there is to buy, and it is a non-finite verb because it doesn't agree with this subject. If I were to change this subject, this is a singular entity. If I were to change it to a plural entity, it remains the same. And if I were to change this action, this is a present action. If I were to change it to a past action, this verb, this infinitive is actually going to remain the same. For example, they wanted. Now, they wanted. I've changed the number of days. This is a singular entity, then I change it to a plural entity. They. And then I have changed the tense of days, changing from present tense to what? Past tense. So they wanted to buy a new computer. It doesn't change the state of this one, of this verb to infinitive. And that shows this doesn't agree with the subject. And not agreeing with the subject qualifies to be a non-finite verb. And in these sentences which we use as examples of which we use to indicate non-finite verb, we also have finite verbs in there. For example, in the first one here, I love reading. The love here is actually agreeing with this subject. So the love here is a finite verb. While the reading here is a what? Gerund. Taking the state of what? Of an object. And what is an object? An object is what? An object is a nominal entity. So once this is existing as an object, that shows it is acting as a nominal entity. So this is the finite verb, and this is the non-finite verb. Study is what I enjoy. This is acting as a subject. It is a finite verb, and it is a non-finite verb. A non-finite verb, and the is acting as a finite verb because this is subject, and it is acting as a singular entity. If this is a plural entity, this is definitely going to change to are. Is can act. It is an auxiliary. Is an auxiliary verb, so it can also act as a finite verb, but they don't express action. Auxiliary verbs don't express action. Here we have participles. So you saw the injured girl. Injured girl is a non-finite verb, but the saw is actually a finite verb because it is agreeing with the tense or the time the action is done. Sunji saw the injured girl. Here we have it. She is playing football on the field. Playing here is a non-finite verb, and is here is a finite verb because it agrees with the number of the subject. If I were to change this to they, this is become are, just like this. They are playing football on the field. This is a finite verb, while the underlined word is a non-finite verb. Yeah, infinitive. They are coming to spend some time with us. To spend here is a non-finite verb, while are. The are here is a finite verb. The are is a finite because if I were to change the number of the subject involved, this is going to change. He is going to change. Like if I were to use he, the verb is going to change to is. But the to spend is not changed. That shows this is a non-finite verb, while this is a finite verb. And the last one here is he wants to buy a new car. He wants to buy a new car. The to by here is not going to change if I were to change the word, the subject, he. Or if I were to if I were to change the subject he to a plural entity like they, this is definitely going to be want, not wants. The s is going to be taken away because it requires, they require a plural verb. And if I were to change the state, that is the tense or the time the action is performed, it's going to become wanted. They wanted. So the wanted, you can say the actual verb here is changing to wanted and the subject here is changing to they. But this is not affected. So we consider this to be a non-finite verb, while this is a finite verb. So please subscribe, like and share this video, and stay tuned for more videos in the future. Thank you.